going to take on Fritz's air cleaner. You know, look at that. It's kind of ugly. You know, it's rusty here and it's got chips all over the place. So we're going at it with the kit that we sell on my website. I've had so many people ask, you know, what kind of paint, what kind of primer, what do you do, how do you do it, that we just put a kit together that gives you everything you need to do this type of detailing. It's the perfect satin black finish for a lot of the parts in and around an engine compartment, particularly the air filter housings on these old Mercedes. So to begin with, what I did is I took it outside using Dawn dishwashing liquid. I really scrubbed the daylights out of this. You want to get all grease and wax off of this before, I'm going to repeat, before you start sanding, okay? Because if you have wax and oil on here and you start sanding, you're just going to sand that right into the paint, and then when you go to paint it, you're going to get fish eyes, and the paint's not going to stick very well. So we've thoroughly cleaned this. Now I just have some clean water, and I'm going to start sanding it in preparation for the primer. Now what we provide you in the kit is both wet or dry sandpaper and Scotch-Brite pads. Now let me explain where I use one as opposed to the other, okay? Now you generally don't need the whole pad, so what I do is I take and cut it and maybe just get a small square like this. And I'm going to take all the areas that do not have paint delaminating, that do not have rust, and I'm going to just scuff them with a Scotch-Brite pad and water. Because there's no sense in sanding that. You're just sanding through the paint, which you really don't need to do, but you do need to abrade the surface so that that primer will stick. So I'll do this whole top cover this way. You can see here, if I keep rubbing, that eventually I'm taking a very small amount of paint off. Okay, let's say that's done. The next step is to take a piece of the 320 grit wet or dry sandpaper, and using a lot of water, I'm going to come in and sand those areas and smooth them out to get rid of the rust. Let's take this worst one here. You can see what I'm doing is I'm coming in right here. A lot of water when you do this. You're going to have to use your fingernails. Notice I'm wearing nitrile gloves. Always use nitrile gloves when you're wet sanding. Otherwise, your fingers are going to get raw. Okay, I think this gives you a pretty good idea of what I'm doing here. See, we've got a lot of rust down in here. We'll keep sanding that out until we smooth it and actually get the paint to taper out into the good paint. Okay, there's an overview. Now I'm going to go ahead and tackle this now, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the finished product before we dry it off and get ready to prime it. You can see how I use a sandpaper to smooth all these chips and the paint out. Now you could strip this if you wanted to do it to show quality, but I'm not interested in taking that time. You know, this is just a driver, but I want it to look nice, so I've cleaned this all up, and as a final prep, I went ahead and cleaned it one more time using very clean, warm water with a little bit of Dawn dishwashing liquid to get that final kind of film of grease and dirt off. But one final thing before you paint it is use a tack cloth. These tack cloths are included in my detail paint kits, so you just want to rub lightly. Don't rub real hard, but you're just rubbing lightly over the whole area. Do it about 2 or 3 times to make sure you get all the dust off before you go ahead and put the primer down.